He's the best in the Big 12. Nothing's gonna ever keep him down. Yeah. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to the PHNX Sun Devils show, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Make sure you join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. I am Anthony Totri, joined as always by this guy right here. That's Erik Ruby. We got the deli man behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. Do us a solid. Huh?
I said orders up.
Orders up. What are we eating today, deli man? Pastrami. Yeah. I mess with pastrami. Look, if you mess with pastrami, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button.
Pastrami, baby. Come
Drop
on.
a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. David in here. Emily as well. A lot on the docket today, and it all has to do with Arizona State's QB1, Sam Leavitt. Yesterday, of course, we talked about Tennessee fans falling in love with the idea that Sam Leavitt would enter the spring portal window. Again, just a quick recap of the entire show yesterday. Don't expect it to happen. Sorry, Tennessee fans. Not too sorry. But CBS Sports, they put out over the last 24 hours their rankings of the top 150 players in college football heading into 2025. And Arizona State's Sam Leavitt came in at number 8 on that list.
Not too shabby.
Before we get into, is he the best player in the Big 12, do we need to have a conversation of maybe number 8 being the perfect spot for him? Maybe too low, maybe too high on that list? I think you can make an argument that he's better than the quarterbacks that were listed above him. You had Garrett Nussmeier, the LSU quarterback.
That one's crazy to me, to be honest.
It is kind of crazy.
I know he can make a big leap, but did you watch any Nuss ball last year?
I didn't watch
it. It was
much.
horrible. He's like the definition of holding a fun team back.
Of holding a fun team
back?
back?
Yeah, because that LSU offense was so fun last year.
Yeah.
And then there was Garrett Nussmeier just throwing a pick in the red zone.
I mean, Cade Klubnik at 2.
Cade Klubnik at 2 feels gross to me.
Lenore Sellers, I like Lenore Sellers.
I like Lenore Sellers. Let's go through the top 10 of this list real quick so that everybody that hasn't seen it can get a better idea. At number 1, they have Ohio State's Jeremiah Smith. Wide receiver, again, I think it's pretty clear, at least to me, that he is the best player in college football going into next season. You do have Cade Klubnik, the Clemson quarterback, at number 2. You have Lenore Sellers at South Carolina at number 3. Garrett Nussmeier, number 4, the LSU quarterback who we just talked a little bit about. Jeremiah Love, running back for Notre Dame, at 5. Dylan Stewart, an edge rusher at South Carolina, at 6. Caleb Downs, a safety for the Buckeyes, at number 7. Leavitt at number 8. TJ Parker, an edge rusher at Clemson, at number 9. And then rounding out the top 10, Alabama's Ryan Williams.
I feel like we could throw in 11 as well, just because he is a QB in this conversation.
Drew Aller.
Yeah, Drew
Come
Aller,
on down.
Out in Penn State. Listen, it's so funny that we're having a conversation. It's like, is top 8 not high enough for Sam Leavitt? Because if I told you 365 days ago, while we were in the middle of Sam Leavitt, is he even going to play for this team conversations, you'd call me crazy, right? But I do think there's an argument. And especially when you look at the grouping and how weighted QBs are with 2, 3, and 4 all being quarterbacks that I think you could argue Sam Leavitt is better than. It's an interesting conversation. I'm not going to sit here and be mad about number 8. Like, I'm not going to be like, what are you doing?
No, I don't think there's a reason to be mad about it.
But I think that if you were to put all of those quarterbacks in the same quarterback room, I don't think that it's far-fetched to say Sam Leavitt wins that competition.
No, I think realistically, it's wild to me, kind of like Shane said, that Nussmeier is highly ranked as he is. Now, I know he threw for 3,700 yards or more than that, 26 touchdowns last season. I'm really interested to see what he does this year. I know he struggled with turnovers in 2024. We'll see if he can kind of correct that this year at LSU. I've always been a big Lenora Sellers guy. I think that Lenora Sellers is going to be in the Heisman conversation for the entirety of next season. I think there's a chance that South Carolina does some really fun things in the SEC. So I'm fine with Lenora Sellers kind of where he is ranked within the top 10. I think when we're talking about Lenora Sellers, it's so much more of a potential conversation.
Call me a Lenoris buyer.
There you go.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, you're so bad, dude. But in terms of
Kyle would never make these sounds.
I'm not gonna lie, I did like that one.
The potential is why we talk about Lenora Sellers so high. Because if we're just going off of what he did last year, under 2,300 passing yards, 17 touchdowns to 7 INTs. He did have 655 yards on the ground and 7 touchdowns. But it's all upside when we're talking Lenora Sellers. Now, Cade Klubnik is a little bit different when we're talking, again, potential versus NFL prospect and what he did last year. Completed 64% of his passes, had more passing yards than Sam, 3,300 yards through the air, 33 touchdowns to just 5 INTs. Also had 7 scores on the ground for Clemson. Now, how much do you weight, what conference he played in? If we talk about the Big Four and the Power Four of conferences, I think we can make the argument that the ACC is the worst of those major conferences. But individually, I'm fine with Cade Klubnik and Lenora Sellers being in this list. I do think Sam Leavitt is a better player than Garrett Nussmeier, and I think Sam Leavitt is further on in his development than Lenora Sellers is, which is why I think it would be more fair to have Leavitt either at 3 behind Klubnik or at 4 in this conversation.
5. So we're saying he should be a top 5 player.
I think so. I do think Jeremiah
football.
Love should be higher than
a top
5.
3 quarterback.
Yeah,
instead of top 4 and top 8.
He's easily a top 3 quarterback.
Okay, so beyond the quarterbacks though, Jeremiah Love, I know that you know your Notre Dame football. I know they play different positions.
Best running back in college football next year.
But would you put Jeremiah Love above Sam Leavitt in a top 10 ranking?
I would put Jeremiah Love.
Okay.
I think Caleb Downs is currently underrated in this list.
Ohio State
you
safety.
think he's underrated at 7?
Yeah.
What do you think he is then?
I think he has the potential to be the best player in college football next year.
I have a tough time putting anybody above Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith is
electrifying, and he's a super fun watch. He's the most aesthetically pleasing player to watch.
I think Ryan Williams is also criminally underrated.
You also have to look at Caleb Downs' portfolio. I mean, he started as a true freshman at Alabama.
Yeah. Now he's
the resume.
Well, I think we can shuffle this list around. Let's keep the 10 that we have here. And Ryan Williams, TJ Parker, Sam Leavitt, Caleb Downs, Nussmeier, Stewart, whatever. And let's make our own list really quick.
Is it evil to say Nussmeier 10?
I don't think it's evil.
Is it wrong?
Can we agree that, do we want to start from 10 and work our way up, or do we want to go from 1 and work our way down?
I feel like that's the way.
You know what's crazy is I put Aller over Nussmeier. You're
big anti Garrett Nussmeier.
For some reason, I watched a lot of LSU ball last year, and he has a lot of fun potential, but it was never a fun watch.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I also hate Drew Aller. I kind of just hate. They're like the same player to me.
I like Nussmeier more than I like Aller. I would still keep Aller outside. I'd put Aller above Nussmeier just because of what Aller accomplished last season at Penn State. Again, I think a player that's maybe a little bit further along in their development.
But like 10 and 11, they're pretty damn close.
I'm comfortable putting Drew Aller at 10.
Okay,
and
so
saying
Nussmeier,
he's out of the top 10.
We don't trust Meyer.
We're comfortable. We're comfortable with that part of the list so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
One pick in, I'm comfortable.
Okay. Number 9, TJ Parker, edge rusher at Clemson. I'm fine leaving him there. 30 quarterback hurries, 11 sacks last year. He's going to be an NFL player when it's all said and done, one of the top returning defensive players in college football. So I'm cool putting TJ Parker at 9. In terms of 8, this is where things get, I feel like, a little weird.
So we're debating between.
I think when we're talking about that 8 spot, I think instead of Sam Leavitt, I think we're having a conversation about Dylan Stewart, the edge rusher from South Carolina, or Lenora Sellers. Again, I think Lenora Sellers will be, when it's all said and done, a top 3 player in college football. But right now, I can't put a guy who had 17 passing touchdowns and 7 interceptions as a top 3 player in college football. I just can't do it.
I think I'm fine with Sellers at 8 and putting Dylan Stewart at 7.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to switching those if we want to value the quarterback position a little bit more. And I mean, both of them have tremendous upside. Dylan Stewart not even eligible for the NFL draft
next year
after this year.
Yeah.
So and is a top 10 player in college football already. So we're going kind of off of potential for both of them. So if we want QB to be a tiebreaker, he can go ahead. But I think if it comes with like actual production that we've already seen on the field as a freshman, Dylan Stewart, I think had more production for his position than Lenoris did. So it depends on how you want to tiebreak that, but I'm comfortable with them 7 and 8.
So let's go Drew Aller at 10.
Yep.
At number 9, we can go TJ Parker.
Yep.
At number 8, why don't we go Lenora Sellers?
Okay.
At number 7, I think we can go Dylan Stewart. That cool?
And then we're looking at players ahead of Leavitt that we're good with is Jeremiah Smith.
Yep.
Jeremiah Love.
Yep.
And Caleb Downs. And so it's like, I know we started at the bottom, but now I'm trying to think like, where are we putting people in the middle? Like where does Leavitt land?
I think
all
in
this?
terms of where we're at right now, we're on the 6th spot, right? I think, again, if we're valuing positions and all that type of stuff while we're talking about this conversation, then I think putting Caleb Downs at the 6th spot is kind of where I want to be at.
I'm okay with that. I mean, that would basically move him up 1.
Yeah, it moves him up 1. And I think, again, this may be a stretch for some people. At number 5, I want to put Ryan Williams. I want to put...
Okay, so who are we bumping out?
Well, Ryan Williams was already number 10.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
He was already number 10. We kicked out Nussmeier. So I want to put Ryan Williams at 5. I think Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith, when they do opt to come out, I don't believe that Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith, are they going to be same class?
Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith were both freshmen last year.
So they can't even come out this year.
He's not even Ryan Williams isn't even 18 yet.
Those two, when they come
Still?
out, should be
this fall.
That 2027 NFL draft, by the way, is going to be one of the most generationally disgusting drafts in terms of like ridiculous talent.
It's definitely going to be like one of the sexiest. Like there's a bunch of like sexy names in there.
Yeah,
like
you're going to have that. You're going to have the guy we just talked about in Dylan Stewart.
Yeah, it's premium positions that everyone wants: wide receivers,
edge rusher, wide receiver. Those. I mean, we're talking about like 3 top 5 picks in the 2027 NFL draft.
Ryan Williams not even being 18 yet is so stupid.
So I think we put Ryan Williams at 5, and then at 4, I think that is where we see Sam Leavitt.
Okay.
I think Sam Leavitt fits comfortably at that 4 spot. I think you're still balancing the idea of, okay, can he be better than Cade Klubnik? Will he be better than Cade? Cade statistically was better last year, but we often talk about the development that we saw from the first 6 games to the second 6 games.
We do often talk about that.
So I'm cool with Sam at 4 if you're cool there.
I'm okay with Sam at 4, and then will we go Cade at 3 or Jeremiah Love? Because we're okay with Jeremiah Smith at 1.
Yeah, I think Jeremiah Smith is 1. So then it's
between who's going to be 2nd and 3rd.
I'm putting Klubnik at 3, and I'm putting Jeremiah Love at 2. I think Jeremiah Love,
but no Notre Dame bias here.
Well, he played in a national championship last season, and you saw what this team was unable to do against Ohio State when he wasn't 100%.
Yeah, Jeremiah Love was also crazy banged up.
Yeah. During that college football playoff run.
I'm not arguing against it.
I think if he's healthy, I think that game looks different. I'm not going to say that Notre Dame wins that game just based off of all the talent that Ohio State had, but I think it's certainly a different game, and we're talking this year. I think Jeremiah Love's a Heisman candidate as well. So.
A little off topic. I appreciate people who are so like committed to what they believe in, even when it doesn't make sense. And Ryan in the chat, who's just been spewing Noah Fafita propaganda about how Sam Leavitt's not even the best quarterback in the state. Brother, I appreciate your commitment. I won't say it's to the bit because I know that you fully believe that, but I'm sorry, but not sorry. You are so wrong.
It is very wrong. And I think, again...
Where's Fafita in the top 150? Is he even
I
on
don't
here?
even think you need to look at Fafita, but I think...
Nope, not in the top 150.
I think
Jordyn Tyson is.
If you talk about Tedero McMillan, right? Are we talking about T-Mac differently going into this draft if he's at Arizona State last year? Probably.
Yeah.
Right? And we're talking about it because he would play A, in a better offense, and B, he would play with a better quarterback.
And C, he would have been a national champion.
Yeah, he might have been. He might have been a national champion if T-Mac was on the team.
Speaking of ASU adjacent players on this list, you see who number 22 was? Texas Edge,
Mr. Colin
Simmons.
Yeah, he's gonna be.
He's
I
good.
mean, we're talking again. He's gonna be a part of that 2027 draft too.
Remember when we were
That draft is gonna be
nuts,
ridiculous. Now that I think about it,
we were watching one of the Texas games this year. We were like, "Who's that? Who's that speedy kid?" We're like, "Oh my god, that's Colin!"
Yeah, Colin. I mean, he won what best freshman
in the country.
Yeah, last season. And he deserved it, man. This kid is ridiculous. Obviously, Arizona
Dude, he
State
had 9 sacks last year.
He didn't even start. It didn't even start last year.
It's crazy. I'm looking for U of A players on this list, and I can't
not a one.
Find one of them.
Not a single player.
I can't.
On that
list.
list.
Has to be a typo.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to get over this. He had 9 sacks in the SEC as a true freshman,
and he did not start.
That's one of the craziest things I've ever heard.
Sacks.
He's insane.
Yeah, he's a problem, and he's going to be. A lot of that Texas defense, or not a lot of it, but there are a good chunk of those players that will be back on that Texas defense. So
Jonah Coleman's on the list. Oh wait. Oh, my bad. Sorry, guys. Different school.
Former. Yeah, there you go. But look, I think now that we have settled in on where Sam ranks in terms of the top players in the country, I think we can have the conversation is how far ahead is he than maybe an Avery Johnson or a Jordyn Tyson in terms of Big 12 best players, and then what type of year does what type of year does Sam Leavitt need to have for it to go down and for him to go down as one of the all-time greats at Arizona State? We're going to answer that question and so many more on the other side of this quick break.
It is hard to save money. And that's why Monarch Money is so important to anybody's life, because it's not just one of these money-saving apps that you're going to download and they end up not using because it's too complicated. You don't really know actually what it does for you. No, Monarch Money keeps everything. It tracks your spendings, your savings, your investments effortlessly so you can focus on what matters most, which is making your life goals a reality. Named Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025, top recommended personal finance app. And if you think that you have your finances in order, like I used to just be like, oh, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
But you're not really checking it out, you don't. You don't have your finances in order. And that's why Monarch Money wants to help you. And they can help you for a cheaper price. Just for listening to PHNX Sun Devils. Get control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code PHNX at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com/PHNX.
Look, we've got some big news from David Kimmerly, president of America's most awarded Ford dealership. That's right, we're talking Sanderson Ford. Ford just announced From America for America employee pricing. Now you pay what he pays on the entire lineup on new Fords with no hassle, no pressure, and of course, no nonsense. And here's a big one, no added markups. Employee pricing levels the playing field for Ford dealers as everyone gets the same set price. However, other dealers are still going to add addendums and add-ons. Sanderson Ford won't do it. Choose Sanderson because they have the inventory and a 70-year reputation of treating you right. Ford is undeniably the most America-first automaker in the world. 80% of the vehicles Ford sells are assembled in factories located in America, and they will be less affected by those tariffs. Now is the best time to buy a new Ford with From America for America employee pricing. Excludes 2025 Expedition, 2025 Super Duty, Raptors, Mustang, and Bronco specialty vehicles.
Speaking of, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
No, please, after you.
Another addition to that 2027 draft. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
It's going to be Sam Leavitt once he decides to come back for another year.
I was about to say that's big time.
Well, you think
back-to-back Heismans?
Back-to-back Heismans.
Back-to-back Heismans.
Back-to-back Heismans. He's also going to start at point guard for Bobby Hurley's Sun Devils.
Oh, God, he's ruined.
Bobby's still going to be
Breaking
there.
news, Sam Leavitt's entered the transfer portal.
Sam's going to enter the portal in basketball. Stay in football.
That'd be fun. That would be fun. Maybe not as much fun, though, as the Die Hard sale that we've got going on over on the website.
I'd say it's more fun. I feel like you phrased that very negatively.
No. The Die Hard sale is 100% more fun.
Yeah, okay.
It's more fun than Sam Leavitt playing basketball for Bobby Hurley.
Yes,
It's
anybody.
100%
It's more fun than anybody
more
playing
fun.
basketball for Bobby Hurley, to be completely honest with you. But the best part is right now you can get a Die Hard membership for only $36.
$36.
Which, by the way, comes with a free PHNX t-shirt when you sign up, which is about a $35 value.
Yeah.
So you're getting a free t-shirt, basically. It's like, hey, if you bought a shirt from us, you're also getting a Die Hard membership for free.
Yeah.
Or if you're buying a Die Hard membership right now, you're getting a t-shirt for free. But you also get ad-free access to gophnx.com, where you can get so many things, including Gerald Bourguet's wonderful writing about the Suns and a bunch of other articles about ASU, U of A, if you care about that type of stuff, Diamondbacks, Cardinals, draft trackers as we get into draft season, and so much more. Plus, of course, access to our Die Hard Discord, which the ASU one is always popping.
It is.
Always. Plus 20% off all PHNX events and merch, like the PHNX Cardinals draft party that's going down in just about 9 days.
I cannot wait.
Over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. Tickets for that are $99 if you do not have the 20% off discount. But if you do the math. I won't do it for you. So much that you can get for an extremely cheap price. We would love for you to join our community, talk basketball, football with us. And if you join the Discord and you're an ASU fan, but you're also a Suns fan, a Diamondbacks fan, a Cardinals fan, you can join all of them and talk about all sorts of different things. And it's a really good time. Highly encourage it.
Yeah, there are people going off in the Die Hard Discord at all hours of, it seems
literally
like every single
I was in there
day.
at like midnight in the Suns Discord yesterday.
I love doing that. So one of my favorite pastimes is when I indulge with our friends over at Pure and then hop in the Discord. Almost did that last night, but
You should start going live in there.
in the Discord when I indulge with Pure, I just don't know if I have the mental capacity at that point to be able to do something
And that's
like
why
that.
you should do it.
Maybe we'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
We'll give it a shot. That's the diehard content that everybody like realistically
If
wants.
we get 5 ASU specific diehards today, Totri will go live, blaze out of his mind for you.
We'll see. 30 milligrams last night had me just doing a fun little dance.
Responsibly doing a fun dance.
Yeah.
On the moon.
I was inside just chilling by
Inside,
myself.
I had my seatbelt on.
I was responsible,
inside.
yeah.
And I had a helmet on.
It was a good time. Again, go phnx.com/diehard. Click the little diehard tab. It's going to tell you everything that you unlock when you become a diehard. Sharon saying, yes, Shane is full of brilliant ideas. Look, we can't encourage Shane too much. We got to sometimes just knock him down a peg when it comes to creativity. So you guys can build him up. Eric and I will continue to knock him down.
It's like the worst.
I'm pretty
thing you can
neutral.
do to a creative.
Is knock you down a
Yeah,
peg?
let's just knock him down a little bit.
Well,
Hey,
I
why
mean,
don't you stop?
knock you down so we can build you up, you know?
I don't need to be built up.
I think you do.
No, I'm a finished Lego piece.
You're a finished Lego piece.
I don't want.
What are
So
you?
there's no room for growth, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I've
What are you
reached
then?
The pinnacle. I'm like a Millennium Falcon.
I'm the pinnacle.
I'm the
Oh my goodness! Look,
Put it on a shirt.
Getting back to our discussion in terms of Sam Leavitt and best players in the country, best players in the Big 12. Again, just based off of our top 10 list, we believe Sam Leavitt's a top 5 player in college football heading into 2025.
I did a poll
You did a poll?
in the chat.
What's the poll?
It's not a scone poll.
It's not a scone poll. Shout out David if you know, you know.
No, it's. I asked them if Sam Leavitt's the best player or the top 5 player in college football next year. And
Go vote on that.
88% have said yes.
Go vote on that poll on the YouTube. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you think that there is somebody in the conference that is better, because that's the conversation that I want to have now. Is not necessarily, I guess, is there someone better? Because I think we both agree that there isn't in this conference, at least right now. But how far is the gap between Sam Leavitt and between an Avery Johnson, but between a Sawyer Robertson, between even his own teammate and his number one weapon in Jordyn Tyson?
Well, according to just CBS Sports, before we get our opinion, even without rearranging things, there's a pretty significant difference. The next Big 12 player is outside of the top 20. At 21, Spencer Fano, offensive tackle over at Utah.
Big boy.
Great player, big guy, top 21 player in college football, according to CBS Sports. But you're talking a 13-player difference, and the difference between top 10 and top 25 is big in any sort of ranking.
I absolutely
And then beyond that, to get to the next Big 12 player, I'm scrolling down right now. Outside
David
of the top
Bailey
30,
is the next one.
outside of the top 30 right now, David Bailey at 40.
Yeah.
So we're saying between the second and third best player, and this is just CBS Sports, right? But if we're going off of what they're saying, there is a 32 spot difference between Sam Leavitt as the best player in the Big 12 and David Bailey, edge rusher out of Texas Tech, as the third best player.
Well, tell me, and again, this is putting a pin in just overall, find me the next Big 12 quarterback, right? Just in terms of that conversation of, we get it, Sam is, a top 3 quarterback in college football, but where does he stack up amongst some of those other quarterbacks?
Jordyn Tyson comes in before another Big 12 quarterback
Jordyn Tyson,
at 54.
number 54. And again, I think we can
Rocco
have
Becht at 60.
Rocco Becht at number 60. So that's what, a solid 52 spots.
Yeah, Rocco Becht
Sam
and
Leavitt
then Devin Dampier at 62.
Which is interesting that they have Dampier above Avery Johnson. And
Forgot
Sawyer
about
Robertson.
Devin Dampier.
Avery Johnson was miserable at the end of last year.
Yeah, at the
end
of last year.
He was miserable.
But we got to think Kansas State was a ranked team for the majority of last season.
The majority?
I believe it was the majority.
Yeah,
of last season.
they were ranked for a long time.
Now, part of that, look, I think what is tough to evaluate about what Avery Johnson could do this year versus what he's done in years past is this year it is going to be heavily on him. Last year, I think that defense was really, really strong at times. And then they had DJ Giddens, right? Which every team in this conference, ASU included, had a running back that they could rely on. And I think you're going to learn a lot more about some of these quarterbacks from last year that no longer have a Taj Brooks at Texas Tech, at
and
UCF.
RJ Harvey at UCF.
Exactly. And there are programs.
Giddens at Kansas State.
What does Oklahoma State do at quarterback without Nolly Gordon?
And without at wide receiver as well. They lost to Sean Stribling to Ole Miss.
Yeah. And I believe Brennan Presley is finally out of eligibility.
Basically, the whole team is out of eligibility.
Avery Johnson's also behind TCU's quarterback.
Josh Hoover, yeah.
And Jake Retzlaff is at 99, too.
And Retzlaff, yep.
I don't like
So Avery Johnson's 102.
Can I have a hot take here?
Sure.
I think in terms of top 5 quarterbacks in the Big 12, I think Sam Leavitt is 1-1. I think Rocco Becht is 2. I think Sawyer Robertson is 3. I think there is an argument for Josh Hoover at 4.
By the way, Sawyer out of the CBS top 150.
Sorry, CBS, you missed that one.
You think Sawyer Robertson's better than Devin Dampier?
Yeah, I do. I want to see Devin Dampier do it at this level. I want to see him do it in.
He did it against this level of teams.
Yeah, but what he played at New Mexico last year?
Yeah.
I want to see him do it every single game, every single week, the way that some of these other quarterbacks did. And again, I know Sawyer Robertson had.
You just like his name.
Sawyer?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he belongs on the ship. He belongs on the ship with us. Just based off of his name.
Your name is Sawyer. By the way, 150 is Nico Amalivia.
Yeah. How much of that of him entering the portal and dealing with all that impacted that ranking, you think?
Well, it's kind of funny because they just have him listed as portal.
Doesn't get a team.
He literally says, I'll be honest, I originally had Email Ava, is his actual name, about 100 spots higher. So it dropped him about 100.
Which is crazy that an off-the-field decision impacted.
This is going to make you very angry.
What is?
Sawyer's not on the list, but you know who is? Baron Morton.
So he is coming back at Texas Tech.
And Sorsby.
That's who I was gonna. Sorsby, I think, is a top 5 quarterback.
No.
Yeah, I think Sorsby is a top 5 quarterback in this conference.
Sorsby stinks.
He doesn't stink. I disagree. I think
like
Sorsby was one of the best quarterbacks that Arizona State faced last season. He was a terrific game manager, made really, really precise throws without having a ton of weapons, minus Corey Kiner there.
He's good for.
They didn't have anybody there.
He's good for 3 turnover-worthy throws a game.
I think when we're talking at the end of 2025, I think Cincinnati has a better season than people think, and I think it's because of Brendan Sorsby.
He plays like a quarterback with like a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Relatable king.
Brendan Sorsby is your relatable king.
Top 150 relatable players in college football, Brendan Sorsby, number 1.
Oh my gosh. So do we agree then that
he's the best player in the Big 12 by a mile, best quarterback in the Big 12 by a mile?
You're talking Sam Leavitt, not Brendan Sorsby, right?
No, I'm talking Brendan Sorsby.
You're talking Brendan Sorsby.
I'm talking Sorsby. Yeah, no, it's Sam Leavitt, like, and not just from us, but from a national perspective, it's not even close.
No, not in terms of this conference.
No.
Right. So I think, again, like there are a couple of players that CBS has listed in terms of, okay, top 50, top 60, where you can maybe try and work around an argument based off of expectations, potential, ceiling, floor, whatever. You already brought up Fano, the offensive tackle at Utah. I think it is tough for me to put an offensive tackle any higher than top 15 when we're talking about overall top players in college football. I just think this coming year is going to be a little bit more of a down class with offensive linemen. I think when you get to David Bailey, the edge rusher at Texas Tech, I think that's certainly up for conversation. But I think Jordyn Tyson at 54 on this list.
He's the 5th overall Big 12 player. Dominique Orange, defensive tackle out of Iowa State's at 51. Jordyn Tyson at 54 is
Dominique Orange, I believe, if I'm thinking of the right guy, is an absolute unit.
That's not a last name. That's a color.
Well, so
thanks.
Dominique Orange at 51.
6'4", 324 pounds. That is a large man.
Right after Jordyn Tyson, Makai Lemon. So we have Orange and Lemon.
Where does Lemon play?
Lemon is at USC.
Lemon's got to be a lineman, right?
He's a wide receiver. He was USC's leading wide receiver last year.
That might go crazy.
Lemon,
he was their leading wide receiver last year?
Yeah, 760 plus yards, only one drop on 52 catches.
Surprised like you didn't know that. We don't watch Big Ten ball. God, it's horrible.
It's just Zachariah Branch was on that team, man.
Makai Lemon.
He wasn't as productive as people thought he was going
to
be.
He should have been.
He's on this list. He's like 130 or something.
Yeah, he's going to be catching passes from what's his name at Georgia now.
Who?
The quarterback that
Who's even their quarterback?
The quarterback from last year. When Beck went down.
Not Jaden Rashada.
Who was the guy that filled in? Played in the literal playoff game. I mean, that's unbelievable that none of us remember that.
Well,
Gunner.
Is he starting?
Gunner, yeah.
Gunner Stockton.
Gunner Stockton, yes.
Well, that's a great quarterback name.
Gunner Stockton is starting.
That's a great quarterback name. How could we forget that? Sorry, Hezekiah Millender also came up.
That's a better name.
Hezekiah Millender?
Hezekiah Millender is on the football, I think, and on the baseball team.
I mean, take that man's keys. That's a name. That's a name that you're gonna see.
Oh wait, yeah, sorry. He's from Arizona, from Goodyear.
Wow.
Went to Clark Central High School. He's a freshman, 6'3".
I mean, we're talking about Georgia football, man.
Hezekiah Millender is going to be a star.
Sean saying, so do we have the top 2 offensive players in the Big 12 according to that list? Rocco's 60. In terms of offense,
yes.
No,
Spencer. Tight end.
Tight end.
Yes, and it was a tight end.
There's no tight end higher. Spencer Fano is an offensive tackle at Utah. That's the second highest offensive player. But yes, the 2 highest skill position players in the Big 12 by that list are at Arizona State. And I think regardless of that list, I think that we would agree. I think Arizona State has the number 1 quarterback and the number 1 wide receiver in this conference. I know Shane is a little bit less high than we are on Jordyn Tyson. But I think Jordyn Tyson is a top 3 wide receiver in college football next year, like outside of Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. And I think there is a gap between those players. I think Jordyn Tyson has proven everything that you need to see based off of what he did last year in terms of the run that he had. When we first saw him, Shane, we saw him at Colorado as a true freshman, what he did to this Arizona State defense. Now, it was a different defense, different staff, different everything. But to have the year that he did.
Was that against Donnie, though? Because that doesn't count.
I think it was against Donnie. It was against Donnie Henderson's defense. Shout out Donnie Henderson. But I mean, you can attest to the growth in him as a player from that first year as a freshman at Colorado to what he did at the tail end of last year.
Especially coming back from that horrible injury.
Yeah. From a knee that was exploded.
Yes.
Like, he's a completely different player.
Yeah. Well, his biology is completely different in that knee.
Yeah, it is at this point.
And just for context, the only other skill position player, non-quarterback, like close to Jordyn Tyson is Bryson Washington, Baylor's running back, who broke their freshman rushing record last year. He's a good player. He's at 69. Nice. But I'm still scrolling, and obviously they're like Devin Dampier, Rocco Beck, Josh Hoover. Like, they're closer as well. But other offensive, like, skill position players, I'm at 87, 88, 89, 90. Nobody. Like, wide receiver, Caleb Douglas, Texas Tech, at 95, is 40 spots lower than Jordyn Tyson, is the second, not just wide receiver, but the second skill position player after Tyson.
Yeah.
That's a big separation, but that's big expectations, man.
It's a big gap. It's a big gap, again, for what Arizona State is trying to do. versus where some of these other teams fall out, right? Again, just talking about Sam's top 10, Rocco Beck, who was the quarterback on the opposite side of Leavitt and Arizona State in the Big 12 championship game, is 52 spots behind him.
Yeah.
And I think that's warranted. I love what Rocco Beck does, but Sam Leavitt took it to that Iowa State defense. They took it to BYU. They took it to Kansas State. They took it to Texas in the second half of that game.
Yeah.
Like this team in Arizona State, I think Kenny and Sam and these guys do a beautiful job of maybe not lowering the expectations, but I think just kind of shrugging off the way that media and the way that we talk about them, right? Hype. And they're trying to kind of not ease expectations, but get to neutral, I think, in terms of expectations and all those types of things.
Well, and they did that last year, but in the opposite sense. Right?
Yeah.
Where you have all this negative press and negative media attention. And what you do is you ignore that and you stay true to who you are and it works. So then when you go to the other end and it's okay, now everybody's saying we're great. Well, we're not going to start listening to them now.
Yeah.
We weren't listening to them 365 days ago.
Yeah.
Let's listen to ourselves and what we need to do.
B saying Jordyn Tyson is better than Totri McMillan. Argue with the wall, Kitty fans.
I can argue with the wall.
I love you, Bees.
But you're wrong.
And I love Jordyn Tyson. He's not better than Totri McMillan.
Not based off of what we've
Not
seen.
off what we've seen. If he goes and wins the Bolitnikov this year and has a crazy year, we can maybe have a conversation.
Which for the record,
On the
Totri
table.
McMillan should have won the
I agree. He
Bolitnikov
should have won
last
the
year. It
Bolitnikov.
should not have been Travis Hunter. It should not have been. But that's, again,
Don't put some respect on Nick Nash's name.
it shouldn't have been Nick Nash either. You can't go to San Jose State and
Nick
win
Nash.
a major award like that.
Should have been Harold Fannon's award
Fannon's a dog.
Whatever.
in action. But also Tyson is like now is the year that he would be considered.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Totri McMillan's class.
Yeah.
So
I think
100%.
it's possible. I think he has the talent to do it, but based off of what we've seen, and I'm not ready to say that, but I also think that Totri McMillan is one of the best college wide receivers I've seen with my own two eyes. So
Yeah, he was an
There's that.
absolute problem.
he is
It's a good thing
absolute
that his
beast.
talent was wasted at the University of Arizona last
Yeah.
season. I will
But
tell you that much.
apparently they have a top 5 quarterback in Noah Fafita.
I saw rankings that have Noah Fafita in at 13 in terms of 16 quarterback, which I disagree with. I think Noah is a fine quarterback. I think last year the coaching staff just ruined any sort of upward trajectory that he had because they were so incompetent.
We got pooped on last year for not saying that he was a top 10 quarterback in college football.
Yeah, we did.
Like we
did.
got a tremendous amount of heat for that.
But it was all from U of A fans. Like,
that's usually where we get heat from.
yeah,
it was
Colorado fans.
hard to say he wasn't going to be a top 20 quarterback in college football.
But that's top 10.
I know, but I'm just saying, like the belief in him after that Alamo Bowl performance, it just left such a good taste in everyone's mouth.
Yeah.
And like the recency bias. But now, like, I don't know, man. Coaching aside, like, was that just like a good mixture of like you had a really good offensive line?
Mm-hmm.
Everything was working out. You had a running game to lean on. I know you had no running game to lean on.
You still had
year.
T-Mac, who was
Well,
But I
obviously,
also think with Noah, like, yeah, the situation on him last year wasn't great, and that's going to make him worse. I also think when you watch him, I don't think he looked like individually as good as he was the year
Well,
before.
he looked
either.
like a completely different player, and
Yeah.
that's a little worrisome because you want your quarterback to be able to elevate regardless of the circumstance.
and this roster
Yes.
at U of A is worse this year than it was last year.
Yeah,
at least on paper.
I don't put that all on him at U of A. Like, I get that your situation, your circumstances change, and that's going to affect your results. But when you watched him play 2 years ago versus last year, you're like, he doesn't look the same.
No, he didn't look the same, but nothing really around him was the same minus Totri McMillan.
Yeah.
And I think at a certain point in the year after when we got the conference play, not to say that they stopped it, but everybody knew that if you wanted to beat Arizona, you just had to try and take away Totri McMillan. And a lot of teams, I think we saw, were very comfortable making Noah Fafita beat him. And Noah, maybe not to his fault. It's tough for a guy that is still super young. I believe a true sophomore last year in college football.
And very undersized.
To try and
That's a
lead
huge-
a team that was just a 10-win team the year prior with a new staff, a lot of new faces around it to try and do anything. So I don't put that all on Noah. I think Noah's a fine quarterback. I do think he's a top 10 quarterback in this conference. But I think in terms of this season, it might get worse for Noah than or before it gets better.
Just excited for U of A to retire his number.
Totri, did you see this catch that Sharon's talking about in the chat?
Speaking of Tyson, did you guys see the video that ASU social media yesterday? The catch practice crazy. Yes, I actually tweeted it from the Sun Devils account before ASU got to it.
Did you see it in person?
Yeah.
Oh, you took the video.
I took a video and posted it. Yeah, the tweet is best player, top wide receiver in the Big 12. It's from a different angle, and I'm using my phone. They're using a quality camera. But
I'll drop that link in the chat.
The stuff that he was doing. I mean, he just started working back in drills. Again, they were holding him out precautionary because he rolled his ankle weeks ago. Again, I wouldn't expect him to be full go throughout the rest of spring
until
you'll see him maybe for a snap of the spring showcase or the fan fest. They're gonna. Kenny said it weeks ago, and unless he's 150%, and at this point, there's just no reason to roll him out there. But
I wish I was 150%.
Back to working in drills, and dude, I mean, again, like the way he contorts his body, the presence on the sideline, he's quick. He looks quicker than when he was playing at Colorado. He just feels like he's grown as a wide receiver in every aspect of his game since he got to ASU, and since Hines Ward got here, he's a better run blocker. Like the chemistry that he has, which I think it's almost been beneficial for him to be out the last couple of weeks because it's allowed Sam, when we're doing team periods, when they're doing, one-on-ones with DBs and wide receivers, to try and build that timing, build that chemistry, as opposed to, hey, we're doing 11-on-11s. I need a security blanket. I'm just going to throw it to Tyson.
Yeah. It forces you to get out of your comfort zone.
It's also really important of how like his confidence is like probably the biggest thing for him, because coming off a big injury like that, you have to have confidence not only in yourself but your knee, and like performing at such a high level.
He tore everything in his knee.
Totri get it exploded.
It was gone.
Performing at such a high level in like what the season was last year gives you so much confidence going into next year.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge point too.
Yeah. I do think the health, though, is something that he needs to prove this year, because every year it feels like over the last 3, which is crazy to me that we're already on this year of his college career.
But last year was such a freak. He got landed on.
Still, though, staying healthy is a big part of his game.
And I also think that when you compare him to Totri and McMillan, like the size difference is pretty important. And I also think that type of frame for a player like him, like, listen, he's going to get a lot of targets. He's going to catch the ball a lot. He's not going to go untouched every time he catches that ball.
No.
He's going to get hit a good amount.
But he's also a physical guy.
I don't disagree with you, but just based off of frame and just overall in general, like you leave yourself open to those types of big hits, you're more susceptible to injury. But like, I think that is my only big concern with him. Other than that, like speed, route running, hands, like yak, the ability to like make somebody miss. I have full confidence in him catching balls at the high point, him keeping his toes in bounds. Like full confidence all around that. It really is just health is the only thing that you could say isn't a checked box for him.
I think that's the only thing, that in a really consistent year where maybe he even grows on what he did statistically last year. Because I don't think from an impact perspective he's going to grow that much. I think he was already a super, super impactful player last year, even with Cam Skattebo getting so much run in this offense. I don't see like his workload changing a ton. I think you're just going to
the ground running though too.
You're going to see more wide receivers have an impact on this team than there was last year. But
that might actually open it up more for him than having a running back like Scat. Like, because you're still going to have a good running back, but when everybody who's trying to keep their focus on you is also trying to focus on Jalen Moss, Malik McClain, Jared Hamilton, like Shaman Matire, like, okay, now you're more open because there are more options for other people to keep track of here, and there's more tricky things that you can run if you're Marcus Arroyo and Kenny Dillingham. And I also think, like, I remember at the beginning of last season, it was like, hey, we haven't seen the 100-yard receiving performance from him, and it only took him a couple games, but to be able to start off on the right foot is going to be, I think, a big proponent of like, okay, let's start the season strong for Leavitt, his Heisman case, and of course for Tyson, his Blitnikoff case.
Yeah, look, I think there's still a lot of meat on the bone on this conversation and this topic, and I think we can chew it up on the other side of this break.
Numb. Personally, I like chewing up cornbread hemp because even when I was taking a THC break, they had gummies that were just CBD, but they have ones that are both THC, CBD. It's full spectrum, USDA certified organic. It tastes good, but the best part is it makes you feel good. It's the first ever USDA organic CBD gummy in the USA. They are the highest quality full spectrum gummies on the market. They help with stress relief. I need that. Better recovery. I need that. Improved sleep. I need that.
Brandon
I need
Sorsby
all of
probably
it.
needs
Yeah,
all
Brandon
that.
Sorsby needs that
Brandon
too.
Sorsby signed an NIL deal with cornbread. Plus, they also offer free shipping and backs all products with their 30-day Better Life guarantee, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, third-party lab tested. Literally everything you could possibly want out of an edible, whether it's CBD or THC or both. Cornbread has it. Plus, it tastes delicious. Doesn't taste like any other edible I've ever had in my entire life. And they have a 2-minute quiz to get a custom recommendation tailored to your needs, whether it's aches, pain, sleep support, stress relief, or all of the above. If you want to give Cornbread a try, they're offering you 30% off your first order. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX. Use promo code PHNX at checkout. Once again, cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX. Use code PHNX for 30% off your first order.
Guys, of course, we are here in Studio K. Shout out our friends over at Circle K. Got the entire Circle K snack cart back there. If you guys haven't tried the kettle cooked jalapeno chips that they have at Circle K,
so
the best snack that Circle K has, in my personal opinion. Great for road trips, great for if you maybe want to sneak something into a movie, get an entire bag of those, or maybe you just want to lounge around on the couch and eat snacks. Circle K, plenty of options. But
Shout out sour wriggly worms.
Sour wriggly worms.
You got some of those down there.
Got all
some
sorts
dark
of stuff.
chocolate covered almonds.
I know you're a pistachio guy.
Dude, I ate, I swear to God, an entire bag of Circle K
Circle
pistachios
K
yesterday.
pistachios hate
In
to
one
see
sitting.
Eric Ruby come and look. Now is
A lot
the
of
time.
saturated fat, brother.
Hey, leave me alone.
Oh my goodness. Join Inner Circle. Okay. It's Circle K's free membership program. Super easy
Shane's
to
out of my Inner
download
Circle now.
and sign up. Also, mark down this day on your calendar, April 24th. It's an Inner Circle Fuel Day where you guys can save 40 cents per gallon from 6 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. Still got bees in the chat. Sharon, Sean, Glenn, everybody, we appreciate you. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. What do you got for me, Deli Man?
Plus, Circle K gives you discounts depending on how many strikeouts the Diamondbacks get.
True.
Every
Do
game,
they really?
Every day after, yeah.
Wow.
But you would know that if you would get their text messages.
Wow.
I get a lot of text messages
Yeah, you
This
know.
guy's
from
phone.
you, actually.
Mhm.
Shane, I don't know if you know this.
Eric's eating a lot of saturated
Chimpanzino
fat again.
bananino.
Yeah. Shane texts me in a made-up language just that he made
That's
at
awesome.
least twice a day.
That's
at least
awesome.
twice a day.
I've literally never done that in my life.
I can think of
Poke
at
fun.
least 7 occasions.
Send the receipts.
Send the receipts. Okay, after the show, I'll find those receipts for you.
First, let's talk about how much saturated fat I am consuming.
A day?
A day? Probably way too much.
I mean, what do you eat on a daily basis?
Let's not go there.
Bag of nuts.
Do you eat a lot of nuts and cheese?
Not a lot of cheese.
Nuts and cheese guy?
I don't eat a lot of nuts consistently, but when I eat nuts, I eat nuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, Eric.
Speaking of eating nuts, the Colorado Buffaloes are
Oh,
retiring
okay.
Shedeur Sanders jersey. Woo!
And Travis Hunter.
Well, that's
And
fine.
Travis
Travis
Hunter.
Hunter's fine.
Is
Shedeur
it?
Sanders is ridiculous.
I do want to get into this because first off, before we go off on a rampage,
Did you like that transition?
did we
or,
want to? Yeah, you went straight from talking about eating nuts to Colorado.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
That's enough.
Yeah. We're talking about pistachios here, okay?
Oh.
Do we want to wrap up the Jordyn Tyson conversation? Did we already do that? Did we feel good on that?
I feel like there's a lot of meat left on that bone, but I feel like we got a lot of shows to get into that.
I mean, that's
fully.
fine. That's fine by me. I'm cool with that. We can go ahead and get into this lovely tweet that was sent out by Colorado football. That's right. Jersey retirement ceremony for Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter during the Colorado spring game. Shout out CU for giving their fans, first off, like a 4 or 5 day notice on this entire thing happening. Not having it happen at a real game, not having it happen at an impactful game, but doing it at a spring football game.
I guess it's like fitting for retiring Shedeur Sanders jersey. Like Travis Hunter's, I'm more okay with. He won the Heisman for your school, 2-way player. I more so get that. Shedeur, not so much. But we all agree this was 1,000,000% baked into Deion Sanders' contract extension, right? Like 1,000,000%.
What for you? What standard is like? I guess what is the standard for jersey retirement? What do you have to accomplish?
Individual player, if you win a Heisman, I feel like you can get your jersey retired. If you are at that school for, if you have one of the greatest individual seasons in that school's history, I think it's a conversation. Team success is the first thing, which is why the Shedeur stuff is crazy, right? And if Travis Hunter didn't win the Heisman, I would say that's crazy too. Like, that's the only thing that justifies it. But you have to win.
You do have to win.
They didn't have a single bowl game win. They were 1-8 in their first year.
13-11 or 13-12 in the 2 years that they were at Colorado.
They were a good team this year. They weren't a great team that deserves to have 2 players' numbers retired, especially 6 months after that season ends.
Joe Burrow, who is responsible for single-handedly the greatest college football season of all time by an individual player, does not have his number retired at LSU.
They're a serious
That
program.
team won a national championship. He had the best statistical season of any quarterback in college football history. That offense was the greatest offense in college football history. You can't even make an argument for any other one, and his number is not retired. And they won he won the Heisman too. He won everything that you needed to win, right? And he doesn't even have it retired yet. Colorado is opting to retire Shedeur Sanders' number, who, again, he's going to be maybe a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. We don't even know, based off of reports from NFL guys saying, well, he could go as high as 5. He could go to the Saints at, 9, or he could fall.
It's real Giants
right?
hours.
So we don't know about what's going on, where he's landing. Joe Burrow was a surefire first overall pick when we're talking about guys that deserve their love and their flowers. Travis Hunter is what? We're agreeing top 3 pick probably is where this guy's going to land with the Giants or the Browns. But again, I don't think these guys who, were immediate transfers, right? The only reason they ended up at Colorado is because Deion went there. I think that is part of that conversation, right? They have no actual ties to Boulder whatsoever. They didn't win a bowl game. They didn't make a conference championship. They choked, actually, down the stretch.
They lost the bowl game, too.
They lost the bowl game.
They didn't win a single bowl game. Again,
they barely had a 500 record together.
Again, I'm fine with Travis Hunter.
I'm not.
I wouldn't have made the decision. I wouldn't have made the decision myself, but I'm okay with it. The Shedeur thing is it's just nuts. Also, Sean in the chat says it's an insult to the other CU greats.
It is.
Like
it absolutely is. Dear Lord. Yeah, it's
That's
pathetic.
a crazy comment.
It's pathetic.
That's a crazy comment.
It's you can't, again, and I think there is part of this whole conversation. We can sit here and say we don't think that their numbers deserve to be retired. But I can also acknowledge the impact that those 2 players had from like a national perspective of like, hey, kids wanted to watch Colorado football because they were on TV, right? I get that. I understand that. But just because of that, just because they had high social numbers as a program, just because, those 2 players really, really helped in terms of the impact of season ticket sales, I get all that. But part of having a number retired or being, having your number hung in the rafters or having a statue, part of it is you have to win something. This team, with those 2 players, 2 guys that are probable locks to be top 10 guys in the NFL draft this year, did not win anything meaningful, did not win a conference. They were the worst team record-wise in the Pac-12 the first year that they were there. And then you get to year 2 in the Big 12, they had a chance, and they choked it away because those 2 players couldn't win a big-time game against Kansas, who was trending down all year long with Jalen Daniels, Devin Neal, and company.
At that point, Kansas was like the hottest team in college football because they helped us out in big ways. But no, they were not a great team.
But if you're a great team,
you win that game.
With 2 of your best players in program history, which, by the way, that's what jersey retirement is. 2 of the best players in your program history.
Does anybody else have their jersey retired for Colorado?
I'm sure.
Or are these the first 2?
I'm sure there are other players at Colorado. I mean, that's what the internet's for.
Yeah, I'll look that up. Also, I mean, the fact that
I can look it up while you talk.
The fact is, you lost the real Big 12 championship, according to your 2 fan bases, to BYU and the Alamo Bowl. Again, big stage.
Blows my mind.
You lost.
Blows my mind.
4 players have been retired.
So it's their
Who are the 4?
50% increase.
Nobody you're gonna.
Nobody that matters.
50% increase in retired numbers after the season.
Glenn saying, okay, everything you're saying, Totri, should we take down
Salam.
Tillman's statue? No, Tillman's statue is unique to Arizona State, not necessarily because of the impact that he had on the field.
So here's what I'll say, Totri. This is my rebuttal. Is that exactly?
Is Tillman?
No. It's
Shedeur Sanders.
well, you are goalposting a little bit
What's the goalpost?
because you're moving the goalpost from what they've done on the field to their impact, and that's exactly what my argument is for why I don't really mind it that much. Because these 2 guys, I know obviously it doesn't happen without Dion, but these 2 guys single-handedly changed the trajectory of this program forever, like literally forever. It's never going to be the same, and that is why you retire a jersey, because of their impact on the program. It doesn't have to be win-losses. There could be like one of the greatest like revolutionary talents on a bad team ever, and because he brought so much eyes onto that program, that means they changed the impact. And I'm not
Okay.
and I understand the gripes from both sides. I get it, but I don't have as big of a problem with it.
So the Pat Tillman statue
Was an
built-
American hero,
Okay.
by the way.
was
I-
also
no, but
built,
stop
was
it, stop
also
it. We're
built
not-
in 2017.
Okay, but stop it. This is not what we're doing. We're not doing this. I'm not comparing them and Pat Tillman. I'm comparing Totri's argument.
No. But that is part of the argument.
Impact, I get it. But like, let's just if we're just saying on impact, right? We are 6 months after them playing their not even 6 months after them playing their final game for that.
They
school.
haven't even drafted.
We don't know if they
Okay.
changed that program forever. I know Dion signed a contract extension 6-7 years from now.
I know.
Who knows if they're the same? They built this Tillman statue in 2017.
See, you're doing it though. You're comparing fucking Pat Tillman.
No. But you said that by my logic that Tillman shouldn't have a statue, pretty much. That's you saying that's my argument.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you were moving the goalposts. I'm not saying you're.
I think again trying to compare what Pat Tillman did for this program.
I'm not. That's not what it's. This you are doing. I legitimately just but right after I stopped speaking, I said I am not comparing Pat Tillman. This is not a case by case argument. This is an impact thing, and it's not an impact on how much this person made an impact versus how much this person made an impact. It's making an impact as a whole. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
I think there is a certain there are outliers, but part of it is you have to win, right? Part of it is I think you do have to be a great player. Now there are outliers, right? Like the situation that we have at Arizona State and other programs, right? But when it comes to Shedeur and Travis Hunter, again, you mentioned that statue wasn't built until what, 2017?
20 years after he played his last season.
No, but again, that's not even removing
we
the
don't know
argument.
we don't know if they've changed the program forever. We don't know if they're going to be.
That's a value.
We don't know if they're going to be talking about it like this 10 years from now, and their jersey's going to be retired. Like, if 10 years from now, Colorado's a perennial college football powerhouse because of what happened this past year, then you honor them and you retire their numbers. You say, thank you for paving the way. They're not even done with spring football for the next season after they're done. And they're retiring their jerseys.
No, the timing thing is crazy. It's insane how fast this happened.
That's my whole thing is we don't know their long-term impact. So if you're going to do it based off impact, this is the wrong time to do it.
Yeah, but that's never what I was arguing was the timing. I was arguing them not having a jersey retired in general. I think that's a little silly to say that they aren't worthy when
But why are they worthy?
Because we've legitimately never seen a turnaround like this in college football.
But what's the turnaround?
A complete culture shift from legitimately
we've never seen it. We saw it. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
From the most probably the most irrelevant Power 5 football school in the country to the most eyes on a college football program ever. That's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it didn't just stop after they left. They now got one of the most attractive college football recruits in history. Somebody who's been followed around with cameras, it's the same brand, going to Colorado again in Juju Lewis. That's the impact that I'm talking about.
But it's got to translate into wins, does it not?
But isn't that what we just argued? That it doesn't have to, because impact is impact.
Impact is impact, but again, an American hero versus numbers on YouTube is different.
Totri, I'm going to mute you.
If you're watching on TV, the party always continues over at Go.
I think that is a valid part of the conversation, and I hear you. But again, this team in Colorado with Shedeur and with Travis Hunter, like, yes, they were a bad football program before they got there. But even in year one, they were a bad football program. And in year two, they were below the expectations that they had set for themselves. They were.
Shane's really back. He's full on face.
They literally fell short of their own expectations last year.
I wasn't face palming at Totri.
Oh, it's Sean's comment. Yeah. I won't read that one out loud. Also, yeah, I think Dion is the main source of all of this, as people in the chat are saying more than Shedeur and Travis. Also, look, you know what? I'm changing my mind. This is perfect for Colorado because they are glamour over substance.
Yeah.
Like they're eyes over wins, right? You say we haven't seen the turnaround of a program like that. You're right. But we're covering a program that turns around based off substance and wins and results. So good for them. They can retire those numbers all they want. I'm way, way better off with Travis Hunter, who's actually has won multiple big time awards for his school.
Shouldn't have, but sure.
But he did. And congrats, you got the eyes. You don't have the wins. Let's celebrate that in Boulder. That seems about fitting to me.
That feels very much to me like you just wanted to wrap up the show, so you met in the middle.
No, I mean, I wouldn't have done it.
I do have to go to the bathroom.
You do have to go to the bathroom?
Then 20 more takes, son.
Look, guys,
it's time for hot or not.
But what about BJ Green's number in Colorado?
God. That's going to do it for today's episode of the PHNX Sun Devils show. Hit the like button and the subscribe button on your way out if you did enjoy today's content. You can follow the program at PHNX_Sun Devils on social. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow the man in the middle here at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. And you can follow the Deli Man at Shane Dief.
Never comparing an American hero to a 2-year Division I college football Heisman winner ever.
Except for today.
As always. And we will see you guys on Wednesday for more Arizona State spring football discussion. But in the meantime, go Devils. And peace.
We all silly like the mayor.